Well, welcome everybody. Welcome to our, just gonna wait for some of our attendees to end up coming in here and for your sound to connect. There we go. Here we go. Everyone's coming in. So welcome guys to our Tactical Tuesday. And this is the second week we're trying it here on Zoom. And last week it worked pretty darn good, except for the fact that we had commenting turned off. But hopefully we have it turned on this time. So if some of you, as you come on, you can just put your, just say hello in the chat. That would be fantastic. I believe that is turned on this time. And we should be able to see everybody in the chat. There we go. I see Jules. I see Angie. So welcome, guys. And yeah, just come and say hi as you can. Oh, and Hermel just jumped on there. All right. So we'll just get you to shut your camera off for one quick second, Hermel. So here, guys, we are this week talking about what happened in 2024. We're kind of considering the same thing as we did last week. We interviewed 4 different IGNiTED members last week. We kind of found out what their goals were for 2024. Did they reach them? What hurdles did they have to overcome to be able to reach those goals? And then what goals did they have for 2025? And what's the purpose of going over this, guys? The purpose is, number one, you can see what other people's goals are. Okay, we can all learn from that. Number two, what hurdles did they have to overcome? What roadblocks did they hit along the way to reach those goals? We all hit roadblocks. That's normal. That's the way it works. But using certain strategies or certain tips, sometimes it just takes one little tip and bang, we're over that hurdle. And next thing you know, we're reaching our goals. And so that's what this is all about tonight, guys, is hopefully you can pick up a few little tips from some of the people that we're going to talk to tonight. And I'm going to ask all of our panelists tonight to just turn on their camera right now. We're going to do a quick little introduction. So if we can have everybody come on, that would be fantastic. We have Corrine from Calgary, Lisa from Nova Scotia, Fritz from Saskatchewan, Regina area, I believe. We have George from Nova Scotia, Yarmouth area, and we have New Brunswick represented as well by Hermel. So welcome, guys, to our webinar tonight and to our Tactical Tuesday. So we're going to ask you all to just turn off your cameras, and we're going to start with Fritz. Let's bring Fritz on. So Fritz, if you can come on and just unmute yourself. And first of all, let me just ask a pretty simple question. You are still muted, Fritz, I think. So maybe if you can just unmute yourself, that would be great. Melanie is asking in the chat, I'll just address this first. Your cameras are not on. So this is more of a webinar than it is a normal Zoom meeting. And so you don't have to worry about your camera, Mel. Okay, Fritz, let's just go back to, how long have you been an investor? How long have you been investing in real estate?
I bought my first property in 2019. However, I started taking it seriously after being burnt after a couple deals, in actually late last year.
Okay.
So 2023, because
Okay.
it's late 2023. And it's been a steep learning curve, but I'm loving it.
Okay. So let me just backtrack here, because you said you were burnt and you had a steep learning curve, and at the same time you're saying you love it. So tell me, why do you love it even though you had a steep learning curve and you had some difficulties to deal with? What do you love about it?
Because I actually have, like, especially this community has provided me with important materials that I know how to do my due diligence. And I have a community that I can always ask questions with before locking in a deal. It's a steep learning curve because there's a lot of analyzing, but now I feel like, looking back, I've been more efficient with it. It's been quicker to analyze deals and say no to those that
Okay. Those that don't work. Yeah, absolutely. The quicker we can analyze, I've had when I was a realtor, I had clients come to me and they would analyze a $300,000 duplex, and they would ask what the rent would be. And then they would analyze the next $300,000 duplex and analyze the next $300,000 duplex. And next thing you know, we've analyzed 10 of them in a row, and like the numbers are all pretty much the same. So like, I guess my point is once we start analyzing a few, we start to get an idea, and you can start to make quicker decisions instead of going through the whole process sometimes over and over and over and over again. So practice helps, doesn't it? It makes you more efficient.
Yeah. And I have my buy box. So now if it doesn't fall in that criteria, then it's a no. So it's safe.
Okay, perfect. Nice and easy. Um, okay, so let's ask you the first question here that we're going to ask everybody tonight, and that is coming into 2024. Let's go back to December 2023. Did you have goals for 2024? Did you have, a specific goal that you wanted to be able to meet when it comes to real estate investing?
So 2023, my goal for 2024 was to find a JV partner, a joint venture partner.
Mhm.
And I'm able to do that for 2024.
Okay.
So that's one of my wins. And actually, February 2024, when I joined IGNiTED, it helped me a lot because it made my vision and my goal very specific
Okay.
compared to before that, right? So now I could actually just check on my checklist, and I was like, okay, I've done some stuff this year, and I will give credit to myself for that.
Absolutely. Well done. So your goal going into 2024 was have a JV partner. And are you telling me by February you already had a JV partner?
No, so I joined IGNiTED in 2024, and then around after 2 to 3 months, I found JV
Okay.
partners because I was able to like present my typical deal that I usually look for.
Yeah.
So, and build more
Okay.
confidence as well.
Okay. Awesome. Did you end up buying a property with that JV partner, or are you still looking? Where are you at with that?
So that's one of my hurdles for 2024 is that even though I know what I know now, which is actually a lot compared to last year's, it's been a challenge to find the deal. But yeah, I'm still analyzing. I've analyzed more than 100 deals, but they say you have to analyze 100 and find the one. So I'm not stopping. That's the goal for this year.
Okay, I love it. I love it. Okay, so I'm going to say this right now is that there's a lot of people watching that maybe have not bought a property yet, or not raised capital, not gone out and found a JV partner, and to them, the hard part about this business is finding the JV partner, and they feel like the easy part is finding the properties. And what you're telling me is that once you follow a system, the easy part was finding the JV partner, finding the money. The difficult part was finding a good property that fits the system. Am I encapsulating that correctly?
Correct. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, awesome. So, looking forward to 2025, you want to actually find a property. Like, tell me, what is it that you're looking for? Where are you investing? Tell me a little bit about your property search, maybe.
So initially I was focusing in Edmonton. However, so I'm looking for a fourplex. So it should be a duplex to a fourplex, and there should be a definite cash flow for my JV partners that I'm looking at, with all of the other, like a reserve fund, a hefty reserve fund, property management fees, etc. However, it's been challenging because of what's happening with Edmonton right now. So after I've done my due diligence right now, I'm focusing in my backyard, which is Regina, Saskatchewan.
Okay. Okay. So, give me a couple reasons as to why you think Regina is a good place to invest.
First is after Alberta, our tenancy law protects the landlords,
Okay.
compared to Ontario, of course, and BC. And also there's a lot of growth potential here based on the stats that's been released lately. After Alberta, I think Saskatchewan is like about second. And other people can question that, but I'm focusing here. Also, we have a lot of people moving here as well, just because of the lower cost of living. So they have more, they can afford renting out or even buying homes.
Okay. What is the average cost? So if you're looking for a fourplex in the Regina or the Saskatchewan market, like is this a $400,000 property, a $2 million property? Like what is the average price cost that you're looking at on in Saskatchewan right now?
450,
Four
450.
fifty. Okay, so you can get a fourplex for 450. Uh, and so I'm assuming in this scenario that you're working, you have a JV partner already, but you are the working partner in that relationship. Is that
Yeah.
correct? Okay, awesome. So you kind of take care of everything that needs to be taken care
Yeah.
of. Okay,
And that's one of my wins too, is that I've established a strong team, meaning I have a few realtors and lawyers and yeah, and a network, which is it boosts my confidence and as an active partner as well, because I know that my team can deliver.
awesome. There's nothing better than having good people to back you up, right? That makes the world of a difference. What do you do as a like full-time job aside from real estate investing, Fritz?
I'm a registered nurse.
Okay, that's got to keep you busy.
Yes, and I'm a mother of twins too, so I have two full-time jobs. Just kidding.
Okay, absolutely. Two full-time jobs plus an active investor when it comes to real estate. So you're a pretty busy person, aren't you, Fritz?
Yes, I could say, but if you like if you love something, then you will make time for it. And at the same time, and people in Ignited would know this with our momentum calls, is that one of my biggest hurdles this year is to just forget about the FOMO, which is the fear of missing out, and just focus on one strategy. And for me, that's long-term buy and hold, just because it's it just fits my lifestyle. I think besides the cash flow that we all want to focus on, or the wealth building, I think what I my biggest takeaway for this year is your why is the most important. And for me, that's my family and my time with my family. And at the end, like that's how I will define if I've been successful in the future, right? Like in the next 5 years. So
Yeah.
long-term buy and hold it is for me. So
Good for you. Absolutely. You know what? I love the fact that you're you're a mother with twins. Uh, you are you're a nurse. You're working as a nurse. That's a busy, full responsibility job, and you're doing all of this analyzing of properties and finding JV partners and doing all of this stuff. And but I love the fact that you said so. For those that are watching, I just want to say for those that are watching and you know sometimes we make excuses for ourselves. I'm too busy because of this, or I'm too busy because of that, or you know I can't do it because of this, or I can't do it because of that. And I just want everyone to just stop and, you know, Fritz, you might not look at yourself as an inspiration to other people, but you absolutely are. And you know to see everything that you're doing and all the balls that you're juggling, I just got to say congratulations for doing such a great job, and congratulations for putting into practice the things, using the tools that you have available to you, using the team that you've been able to build up, and I think you're going to have some. I can almost guarantee you're going to find a great property in 2025.
thank you. And thank you for this community too. Like I will give this community credit, especially the people who I've known in this group. Like thank you. You've made 2024 very memorable for me.
Awesome. What a great way to finish up. Thank you, Fritz, for joining us. Hang out backstage and we will bring you back in a little bit. Okay. All right. And just to read some of these comments, a lot of hearts there. I see. Fantastic, Fritz. Fritz has an incredible mindset, has persisted despite the challenges she's faced, says Angie. No more excuses, says Melanie. If Fritz can do it, we can too. Uh, She absolutely is, says Lisa. So really good stuff, guys. Thanks for commenting there. Let's bring on our next guest. Let's maybe talk to Lisa. Lisa Penny and Dave, if you're available. Dave, I see Dave is on here as well. So if you want to throw your camera on and unmute yourself as well, that would be great. So and oh no, Dave is an attendee. Never mind.
Yeah,
He's not a
Dave's having some internet issues. He's in
no
Halifax
worries.
right now. Yeah.
No worries. Well, welcome, Lisa, to our
Thank you.
IGNiTED member spotlight tonight. And as we close out 2024, we want to talk about what's happened over the last year and what's up with you. You guys have been busy, I know. Let's
Mhm.
go back to the beginning. Let's go back to December 2023. Did you guys have any goals for 2024 when it
Oh,
comes to real estate?
we absolutely did. We were completely focused on multifamily.
Okay.
But as anyone in this business knows, you have to be ready to pivot and you have to play the hand in front of you. And that's exactly what we did. And we've had a pretty awesome year because we both work full time and real estate can be full time as well. The highlight of our year was our baby girl, our second child, got married in August, and our son, who just turned 25, bought his first house in August, and he is getting ready to start house hacking. So
Okay.
we're
Have
passing it on.
okay, that was going to be my next question. So he is getting into house hacking. Where did he
Mhm.
learn that from?
Mom and dad.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. So there you go, guys. For those that are watching, it's not all about what you do, but it's also about what you pass on to others. And
Absolutely.
particularly maybe your children or maybe your nieces and nephews. It could be other family members, it could be friends. But as real estate investors, sometimes we just pass on things to other people and we don't even know we're doing it. But look at you. So that's awesome. Uh, so I'm going to ask you because we all know being a real estate investor is not super, super smooth all the time. We have
Not for the
issues.
faint of heart.
Yes. Did you hit any hurdles in 2024, Lisa?
Um, Not any major hurdles, I wouldn't say. The biggest thing for us was to pivot when the multifamily thing wasn't going kind of the way we wanted it to. And so we were presented with opportunities. I'm in Nova Scotia, but more specifically, Cape Breton. And honestly, when we started this journey, we thought we would be anywhere but here. And actually, 99% of our real estate is here in our hometown. And it's been really successful. So when the multifamily wasn't happening the way we wanted it to, we were presented with two buildings. We're into the value add, we're like those shows you see on TV, buy a house, renovation day where it's demo day, everything is getting, beaten out of the
Mhm.
place. And that's kind of where our happy place is. And so we're currently right now finishing a single family. I think we have one of them because we bought two. One, I think, might be our first flip. We're not sure yet.
Okay.
And we're turning one of our single families into a duplex. So we've got a lot of irons in the fire all at
Absolutely.
one time because Dave and I are very hands-on and we do a lot of the work ourselves.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
So, man, yeah, that sounds like very hands-on. That sounds like a lot of work. How do
It is.
you manage all of that? Because I know you also have a full-time job, and it's a busy one.
It is. I
How
teach
do
high
you manage
school.
all of this? Yes.
Um, some days I wonder. My Christmas break starts Friday, and I'm counting down the days. And we have a little bit of work to do over Christmas, but not a lot. Dave and I decided we were going to take some time to just recharge the batteries. The good thing is we have a really good team, and Dave and I both kind of like the same things. So it's not like we're going in separate directions. We spend an awful lot of time together. And as long as he does what he's told, everything's good. Sorry,
That's what
Dave, you're
every
not here
wife
to
says.
defend yourself.
That's what every wife says, don't they, Lisa?
No, I'm just kidding. We're a really good team and we're called Home at Last Properties. And my three children and one of my two son-in-laws is part of the business. So we kind of split the jobs, although I mean, a lot do fall on me, and that's okay for now. And right now, on top of all that, I am a course and a half away from being a licensed residential property manager.
Oh, look at you.
Mhm.
Okay. Um, wow, that'll be another full-time job, being a
It
licensed
will
property
be
manager.
when I
Yes.
retire from my other full-time job.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. Exciting. Right on. Yes. Urshad says he met Penny in Sydney a couple of years ago.
He
Uh,
did.
Melanie says, and you're also in live theater.
I
Uh,
am.
Angie says you're a special couple. Jules, very exciting. Wowza, says Melanie. So yeah, there you go. You got a lot on the go. I got a question because you mentioned it. What's it like? And this is good for others that are listening. What's it like working with family? Like, are there hurdles that come along with that?
Um, yes. I wish we had, well, we actually did get into this years ago when Dave and I were first married and expecting our first child. But you have to remember at that time, no internet, because my oldest is 29. So no internet, no groups to learn from, no community to bounce things off of. And I accredit the success that we're having to the groups we're in, like this one. I mean, Fritz and I have started talking once a week, which is the best thing ever. Um, but there are times that it's difficult. Luckily, Dave and I are on the same page and always have been, but there's times, sure, when it's difficult with the kids when because they still look at me as mom and they still look at him as dad, and we're all part of the business together, but someone has to drive the bus. Someone has
Mhm.
to make the decisions and someone has to do that. And so sometimes that can get a little bit sticky, but we're still pushing through and we're all still on the bus, so it must be going well. I think it's like
Awesome.
anything. It's like
Yeah.
any family dynamic. There's going to be hurdles to get around, but we all have the same why. We know where this is going,
Yeah.
and because of that, and because of the way we started, very purpose driven to provide. Like our initial reasoning for doing this was to provide good homes for good people because I was seeing what was here and I wasn't content with that. So, but now, I mean, yeah, I have two kids that are self-employed, so this is a great retirement plan for them. They're not going to have pensions. So, we're staying the course, and so far we're still loving it. There's days when I want to step off for an hour or two, but that's about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't care where you are in the country. I don't care how many properties you have, whether it's one or if it's 100. Yeah, we all go through those periods of time. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, you've mentioned it, same as what Fritz mentioned, having a bit of a team or having a team,
Mhm.
having support around you, that makes the difference on being able to continue and being
Absolutely.
able to push through those tough times. So,
Mhm.
congrats on being able to do that. Um, 2025, what's 2025 got for you, Lisa? If I said, we get together in December of 2025 and you say I've reached my goal, what is that going to be?
So we have just started a land development course. We have our contractor lined up, and we have a beautiful piece of land that came with a triplex that we purchased 2 years ago, and we're getting ready to build our very first multifamily. I couldn't
Good
find
for
one that
you.
I wanted, so I'm going to build it.
Perfect. Amazing. That I'm assuming that's in Nova Scotia. Is that on Cape Breton?
Nova Scotia, Cape Breton, North Sydney, which is the town I'm from. Mhm.
Okay, amazing. That's awesome. So that's really cool. Um, the chat is thank you, Lisa, for having you as an amazing friend, says Fritz. Woot woot, congratulations, says Angie. If you build it, they will come, says Ermel. So yeah, awesome stuff. Congratulations, Lisa and Dave. I know Dave is
Thank
watching
you.
right now. So congrats on continuing forward. I
Mhm.
love the word you said, pivoting, because as real estate investors, we have to do it all the time.
Mhm.
And yeah, really, really good. So Urshad is asking why North Sydney?
Well, Urshad, we have been lucky enough to find value add properties right here in North Sydney. And our most recent one is actually 7 minutes away in Sydney Mines. But it is a beautiful community. There are lots of nice areas. And our tenant population, honest to goodness, I hate to say it out loud, but it's been fantastic. And
Mhm,
I just want more of that.
mhm.
And we need it here. We absolutely need it. There is such an influx of internationals flocking to Cape Breton. And we're 20 minutes outside of Sydney. So I work in Sydney. I drive the 20 minutes every day, but it's 20 minutes with hardly any cars on the road. It's beautiful. It's not
Yeah,
like you're in a big city trying to get around.
yeah.
So it's
Oh,
convenient and it's the gateway to Newfoundland and it's a beautiful spot.
okay. Perfect. There you go. That answers the question. Okay, Lisa, thanks for joining us. If somebody wanted to connect with you, and I forgot to ask this to Fritz, so we're going to go back to that. But oh, Jules put it in the chat. If you want to
Yeah,
chat with Lisa and Dave, there's the email. It's in the chat. Perfect.
yeah.
There you go, guys. Thanks for joining us, Lisa,
Thank you.
and yeah, we will talk soon.
Sounds good.
Okay, let's bring on Kareen. So Kareen, I know you're there. If you can turn your camera on and unmute yourself. Welcome.
Hello, how are you?
Good, good. So we've talked to Saskatchewan and Nova Scotia so far. Where are you located, Kareen?
I am in Calgary.
Okay, Calgary, Alberta. And what do you have going on in Calgary, Alberta? Let's go back to December 2023. Did you have any goals for this year as far as your real estate portfolio that you wanted to accomplish?
I did. I think going into 2024, I had sort of one goal. Decided to pick a lane a little bit and move into the development space, multifamily, and that was the goal.
Okay, multifamily development. So just clarify what that means. Does that mean building a multifamily building? What does that mean? Taking a bunch of lots, putting them together and building something? Like, what does that all include?
I suppose it can mean all of that. But for the first project, I wanted sort of just a single lot, big enough to put a multifamily on. So either between 6 and 10 units, row house style with basement suites.
Okay, okay, I like it. All right, so good goal. Develop a multifamily properties. So you're building that, so it would be brand new, rental, purpose built, property. Let's fast forward a year. Were you able to accomplish that goal?
I was, and it's in works.
Okay.
So I can't speak to the final product yet, but knee deep, and the hole is getting dug as we speak. So there's been
Okay.
a lot of behind the scenes, a lot of learning, but Lux is what I call her, is coming to life.
Okay. I love that you named it. Lux, that's a good name. I like it. What part of Calgary is this building in?
Northwest. Just sort
Okay.
of, I think, Sate would be a landmark that people are familiar with. And we're just a little bit north of that. So on a main street, very, accessible with public transport. You're near the Sate, obviously the school there. You're near to the high school. There's hospitals. Yeah, so we, obviously selected the location with tenants in mind, and we're pretty happy with everything thus far. I mean, it's been a huge learning curve. Don't get me wrong, and not for the faint of heart, but
Okay.
still really enjoying it and looking forward to watching it get built now.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, if the hole is being dug now, you're kind of at the stage where you're going to start to see stuff happen quickly, right?
Yeah.
Like things can start moving now. So your goal is not complete, and that's fine. These things take time. You can't just go and develop a multifamily property and get it built and all of that within a year. That's very, very rare. Um, Angie says Lux is sexy. Jules says I went to Sate. I love that area. So yeah, it is a great area, and you specifically picked it because of the tenant profile and stuff like that. So that's awesome. Um, were there difficulties and roadblocks along the way that made things difficult to get to the point where you're at right now in 2024?
Absolutely. I mean, we've had a bunch of challenges. And maybe being a first time, I think it's sort of par for the course, and I don't think that they're over. But obviously, just getting into a new space has been a challenge in itself. And many of you know, I'm a realtor. I've worked in property management, been around the industry, but that it didn't really set me up for knowing anything about land development specifically. So I just had to own being a beginner in this space and take it on. I put in the time, I think, beforehand, which was really important to me. I wanted to go into it with, a level of knowledge and understanding. So had some mentorship. I took Carmel's multifamily course, sort of prepared myself the best that I could. And then really just worked hard to put together the dream team, as I call it. And I hope that that's what's going to take me through it. There's so many players as you get going, and it's so important that you take the time to choose the right team.
Okay. Every single panelist tonight has mentioned the team,
Yeah.
having a team behind you as very, very valuable. So for those that are listening, if I would echo that, you have to have a team around you. You can't do it all by yourself. And if you try, it's going to take you forever, and you're probably not going to do it right. So we have to have professionals around us that know what they're doing. Yeah, Angie says, like us, you also hired a consultant in the multifamily development to help you guide you through. So yeah, absolutely. That's what we need to do as real estate investors. Okay, so let's see. You also mentioned you're a realtor. So
Yeah.
you have a full-time gig as being a realtor, and I know you work with a lot of investors looking for investment properties. What would you say is a very popular product? And we're just going to switch gears quickly here. What kind of product is very popular for investors in the Calgary area in
Oh my
2020?
goodness. Well, if you can find anything, I would recommend, well, I mean, depending on what budget you're working with, the suited duplex is always, I would say, the real sweet spot, right? Because you sort of got that decent price point, but you've got 2 doors under one roof. And if you can work to owning the other side, then you've got 4. Obviously, if you're working with bigger, then multi is nice. The affordable housing crisis in Calgary is in dire need of rentals and affordable space. So, for me, choosing 5 by 5 and then 5 more, the more doors you can get under one roof, obviously is going to be good, but don't over leverage and go crazy all at once. So whether it's a detached home with a suite in the basement or a half duplex with a suite, but it's hard to get anything honestly to cash flow without that secondary suite right now. So you're definitely looking for suited properties.
Okay, all right, perfect, good to know. For those that are listening that are looking for something and maybe want to get into the Alberta market, feel free to contact Karine, and I'm assuming, like, this development that you've been going through, are you funding it all yourself? Did you raise capital for it? Did you bring on a JV partner? How did all of that work?
Well, I kind of wanted to I've built my portfolio personally thus far. And so, I have some single family that I've had for a long time, with a decent amount of equity in it. So I really wanted to, put my money where my mouth was and where my dream was before I got anybody else involved, honestly. So this one is a personal project. But really liking it, exciting partnerships moving into 2025. And I think, in order to scale in this direction, I'll be looking for partners and growing with other people once I've got sort of one under my belt.
Awesome. I love the fact that you want to kind of test it out with your own money, test it out with doing it yourself first. And not that you're not experienced, you have property management experience, you have realtor experience, you have experience as an investor with many other properties. But at some point, if we want to scale, we partner with other people, or we bring in capital from somewhere. And so what's your goal then? That might tie in, I'm not sure, but what's your goal for 2025, Karine?
Well, I'd like to get a second development going. And now knowing sort of the legwork that happens before the whole is even so running before I walk, I'm looking at getting that started a little bit sooner so that and leaving tenants in place and sort of doing the behind the scenes first. So I do have some land that I own already in a smaller town outside of Calgary, which I think will work beautifully as well. So just talking with town planners and things to get that going 2025.
Okay, awesome, amazing. Well, I'm sure with the drive and the work that you put into everything that you do, Karine, you will accomplish that. And congratulations on getting this far with your property and completing it, I'm sure, in 2025 as well, and getting it rented out and getting it cash flowing and doing all that stuff that comes along with it. And Jules did put in the chat how to get a hold of you. Your email was put in there. So that is KarineLowenRealty@gmail.com. And so if anybody wants to contact you, ask some questions, that's how they can get a hold of you, correct?
Yes, that's amazing. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you for joining us, Karine. I appreciate that.
Thanks for
And
having me.
we'll have you back in a few minutes. All right, let's now talk to George. All the way again, we're going back and forth across the country. We're going back to Nova Scotia. You're in the Yarmouth area of Nova Scotia, aren't you, George?
We are.
Okay. All right. So let me start, George, by going back a year, like we've done with everybody else, December 2023. Did you have any goals for 2024 that you wanted to reach when it came to your real estate investing?
Yeah, I think the one goal was to, and we didn't actually think that it was going to be a problem, was to get our second multifamily building. But yeah, we looked at a bunch of properties. We put in some offers. We actually even looked at a commercial building, and we had just some preliminary plans to do some residential within that, but that didn't work out. We looked at another what was an old hotel in Windsor, Nova Scotia, which someone had already converted to apartments. But again, there's yeah, we didn't follow through, and part of our problem is that we haven't found like financial partners to work with, and that, I think a lot of it falls back on us. I think until you make yourself known, reach out to a bunch of people that and so that's sort of been our, I guess, hindrance so far.
Okay.
But the other thing that I've probably done a bunch of private lending deals. I probably did maybe 4 of those this year, either payouts, yeah. So yeah, so that's been good. It's been interesting because they don't always go as you think they should. I mean, some are great. Some that I've done with some IGNiTED members, they go off without a hitch.
Okay. And others sometimes might have a hitch, right?
Yeah, I'll say challenging is the word.
Okay. Some can be challenging. All right. So you've kind of answered a little bit about my next question. So your goal was to get a multifamily property. It sounds like you looked at a whole bunch. You even looked at a hotel. You looked at all of these different things. Nothing really panned out. You didn't secure a financial partner throughout the year, and so that kind of hindered things. So those are some of the roadblocks that you hit. But I know you have a really cool project that's kind of underway right now. So why don't you tell us just a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I guess it goes back to my my grandfather. I mean, he was a businessman. He had bought there's probably 60 to 70 acres, I guess, in Bridgewater, Nova Scotia, which is an hour south of Halifax. And so when he passed away, my father inherited, and I never, I never actually give my father enough credit. But he had done back in the late '80s. He had a subdivision plan done on this piece of land, and then he put in 9 surveyed single lots. So I have a brother and sister, and so they thought that we were all going to get 3 lots each, and that'd be basically the end of it. And then my father passed away. Then my mother passed away. So I got it from her estate. And I think that, and well, the paperwork I think ended in 2021. And then fast forward to December of 2023, I just been paying the taxes, like on the property, and no real clue what I was going to do with it. Land development was the furthest thing from my mind.
Are you talking about your 3 lots, or are you talking about the entire project?
No, the entire project.
Okay. Okay.
And so last December, and it was right around this time, I had a letter from the Exit Realty owner in Bridgewater, and basically saying if I ever wanted to sell the property, get in touch with them. We had a couple conversations during the summertime, and then he said, get in touch with this guy. I think he can help you out with the property. And so I got in touch with the guy as an engineer. He'd done a small subdivision with his brother. His brother was the financial partner. He did all the work. And we had a couple conversations, and I thought, this is probably maybe the best opportunity that I'm going to have to do something with this property. Now, I may have jumped into this too fast, but my thought was, I'm not getting any younger. I don't have the connections. And so I partnered with this engineer in Bridgewater. And we basically, the whole project is just about ready for a concept plan. Okay. So between 50 and 60 lots. And then sort of the update to that, I thought, well, if we sell all these lots, we're not going to have anything left. Like and so I came up with the idea. It's like, well, I think you should hold on to some of these lots and start building some multifamilies. And so Joanne and I were even just talking tonight, and so that's our plan for 2025 is
okay.
To do either 6-unit or 8-unit multi to start with. It's a little bit of it has to be on well and septic, but septic's not a problem because my partner, he designs septic systems.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah.
So you didn't know this guy before 2024, correct?
No, I had no clue whatsoever.
Okay. But you did know this guy from the real estate office before 2024? No?
Just by name.
Okay. So you made connections in 2024 that completely changed what you were doing with this property.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
yeah.
I get the tax assessments, pay the bill for all the lots, and that was the extent of my any thought whatsoever of doing anything at all with the property. In fact, I would have I contacted someone who was building some homes in Bridgewater. And if I would have had a half decent offer, I probably would have sold the land.
Okay. Would you say that with your current plan now, you will end up earning more money than you would have with your original plan a year ago?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Okay, that's all you have to say there, George. You answered my question. Guys, I hope you caught that, what George just said there. And really what helps to go from maybe one plan, and this is what I can't remember who said it, but somebody said tonight, Lisa said it, it's about pivoting sometimes. Like your goal at the beginning of the year was to buy a multifamily property.
Yeah.
Your goal now at the end of the year is you're developing this 70 acres and building multifamily property. So, you know, like our goals can change. And just because maybe we don't hit them or we hit roadblocks, it doesn't mean we're not making progress. And George, you've made a ton of progress throughout the year. Angie says, George, you're so modest. Jewel says, what a cool opportunity, George. So really cool stuff going on. So congrats on that, and congrats to Joanne as well. You guys are doing a great job in moving forward, step by step, getting stuff done, and getting closer to your end goals. And those goals can change. And they might change throughout 2025, but I know you have a great attitude, George, and you got great people around you. So congrats on all of that.
Perfect. Thank you, Corey. Thank you for the
Okay.
opportunity.
You betcha. Thanks for coming on. George, if anybody wants to get a hold of them, Jules has shared their email in the chat, windsurf222@hotmail.com. That's how you can get a hold of George. If you want to ask about how he's doing all of this, how he made these contacts, maybe how, if, I don't know if you're taking investors, George, or not, but anyways, there you go, guys. That's how you can get a hold of them. So thank you, George, for joining us tonight. And we'll have you back in a couple minutes.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay. Who we got? Ermel, do you want to join us tonight, Ermel? All the way from, now we're moving up to New Brunswick from Nova Scotia, Moncton area. So welcome, Ermel.
Hey, thanks for having me, Corey.
You betcha. It looks very festive there in Moncton right now.
Well, you know, some of the perks or some of the favorite things I had when I was growing up as a kid was you know, the multicolored lights. For some reason, they still hold a very special part of me during the holidays, and I insist of putting them up everywhere, and I get, you know, vetoed because, you know, they look tacky according to some of my close ones. So, but whatever, I like them anyway. So I figured I'd throw them on the Zoom call tonight just for festivities coming up.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And for those that are watching, I know you can see that Ermel has already put his contact information in his name there. So now we know how to get a hold of you. So that's awesome. Okay,
Yeah.
Ermel, a year ago for 2024, did you have a goal that you had set? Did you have something you wanted to accomplish by the end of this year?
So I had definitely the goal of growth was because we were on a pretty steep climb with the Sunset Group, Sunset Investments. We had closed, I think, in 2023, 150 something doors. So, you know, like I didn't want to underperform on that, but I didn't want to set myself up for failure as well. And of course, growth comes time to stabilize. So I also wanted to experiment doing something outside of the Sunset Group with other partners because um, I had been watching and observing a few IGNiTED members and their work ethic, and we had developed a bit of a rapport. And I figured, well, if I can make a partner and acquire something that's not in my backyard was also on the target list. You know, so I had like multiple sets of goals. Also, basically, I had determined like, okay, well, I would like to come close to the same amount of doors as we had closed on the previous year. So like door count, new partnerships outside my backyard, um, and taking on you know, new challenges in developments. One of which I didn't get to do this year was we wanted to explore destination vacation slash rental properties but we didn't get to that this year. So that's kind of the list was set to those things.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you wanted to get outside of your backyard, and did you accomplish that in 2024?
Yeah.
I know
So
the answer, but maybe you can tell the rest.
So yeah, in no small measure, I partnered with Craig O'Casey from IGNiTED and his lovely wife Lisa. We founded Go Asset Management, and we bought 49 units in Drumheller, Alberta, which is east of Calgary by an hour and some minutes. I partnered with Crystal Crum, also an IGNiTED member, and we bought a 30-unit building down in Red Deer, Alberta. And with the Sunset Investments Group, we bought a 31 unit in Halifax, Nova Scotia, 31 unit student rental. So yes, we definitely achieved stuff out of my backyard. Definitely achieved doing stuff out of the League of Sunset Investments, a bit more on our own. And then, of course, out of the other things we've accomplished, we managed to pull up and open a MFT to receive mutual funds for the Sunset Group. That's for the Halifax opportunity. And we just, I believe, as of last week, we're fully funded. So we're now able to race to completion, renovations and stuff. So yeah, it was a good year, good solid year. We as part of the acquisitions we had in 23 came big lots of land. We were missing a few key pieces to start the process of applying for variances and development permits in the Sackville area, the student rental town that we're a big part of. And we managed to acquire that little piece of land. We demolished the store. You might have seen some of my videos. And now we're just waiting on, like we're meeting with construction management companies to see like who has the best deal, who has the best product to offer us. We're big on firm costs because we like the predictability of a solid budget. And now it looks like development's up our alley as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and then the projects in Alberta are all on some measure at advanced stages of refinancing. We have a COI for the Red Deer project, waiting on the commitment letter from the bank, which is 3 weeks after issuance of COI. So on December 24th, I should be getting it in my stocking. And we just got an offer for financing on one of the buildings in Drumheller today for the refi on one of the buildings out there. So now we're just gonna wait for that letter of intent to come in, and the lender can submit to CMHC, and we're hoping we'll have a COI early next year for the first building. So like it's been a steady stream of push hard, keep pushing, and the light at the end of the tunnel. All these are all the completion of these projects, and it's been good.
Yeah. So first I'll say, wow, congratulations. And I'm just going to point out because, hey, why wouldn't I? It seems like all your partnerships and even the guys in Sunset, you're all IGNiTED members. So like, hey, for those people that are watching, there's something going on here. We heard this not only from Hermel, but we heard it from others within this group that a lot of partnerships are done there. So that is awesome. I love to hear that. Okay, moving on. Roadblocks, and unfortunately we're running short on time, but let's hit a few roadblocks. Was it all smooth sailing through 2024, Hermel?
So the biggest pile of work we've had was trying to close all these 3 deals before the new capital gains laws that were taking effect on June 25th. So all of our sellers that we were working with on these properties had a drop dead kind of quote on the offer documents that said, if you're gonna be past the June 25th deadline for the new capital gains laws, we're not in business. So that was the biggest roadblock, was to push these through all the legals, all the financing that came into the closing 3 properties in June. So you can imagine the amount of sleepless nights and long hours to push documents ready for the lawyers and all that. We did get it to completion, but it took some measure of all hands on deck. Like my wife was working at it, I'm working at it, all the partners are working at it, and the legal team's churning, like in the background. So it was definitely some of the hardest real estate investment work that I've done to date. Would I recommend it again? No. Don't close 3 deals simultaneously. It's too much. But that's what circumstances called, and it was out of my control. And delays, and then all of a sudden they're all closing at once. So
you got her done.
Yeah, exactly. I took a
So-
couple of weeks to rest after that, but
Yeah, no kidding. Absolutely. So, that's what I want people to hear. It's not all just, super smooth. We are going to hit roadblocks. We are going to have deadlines. We're going to be in crunches at times. We're going to be in money crunches at times. These things happen, and it doesn't matter how many doors we have or how many properties we have. Sometimes we're put under the crunch, and but if you push through it, you have a team behind you, you're working with good people, what a difference that makes. 2025, if you have a goal or two, what would it be for 2025? Are you going to get to that vacation property, or what's your goal for 2025?
Well, as far as acquisitions go, I think we're going to be a little more selective. We're going to pick a little picky on the markets we work in. I'd love to break ground in some development projects, especially if we can get ahead in the New Brunswick market, or I'm in talks right now with several people in Alberta to get some developments going out there. And we'll see. I'd like to break ground and be part of one of those projects. I've been learning a ton. But mostly I think would be, stabilize what remains to be done with the Drumheller project. There's still a lot of renovation going on there, and then stabilize and get her refinanced, and then move on to either another property or another acquisition and some development.
Okay.
Yeah.
For some reason, I am all blurry here and it's bothering me, but that is awesome. You got some goals, Ermel. I love it. That is really good. And I'm sure with the amount of effort you put into 2024, if you do that another year, you're going to be successful this time of year next year if we interview and have this same conversation. So congrats on everything that you have done to this point and continuing on as well. Obviously,
Thanks.
People know how to contact you if they want to get in touch. And I appreciate everything you're doing. There's a lot of great comments in the chat there too. So unfortunately, we're slammed on time here. I'm going to ask all of our participants, all of our panelists, to turn their cameras back on, and we're just going to extend this by just another couple of minutes, guys, because I got one question for each of our panelists tonight, and that is, if you were to give a word of advice, okay, and this doesn't have to be a long story or paragraph, but you're just going to give a word of advice to investors that are watching this, that are thinking about 2025 and what they might want to accomplish. What word of advice would you give? And just throw your hand up, or just go ahead. Or maybe I will choose. Lisa, we'll start with Lisa. Do you have a word of advice for investors in 2025?
One word?
Sure. If you want one word, that's good.
Team.
Okay. Team.
Mhm.
Very good word. Love it. George, one word of advice, or one sentence of advice for investors in 2025?
Be persistent.
Okay.
In my case, you just never know what's going to happen.
Okay. So team, persistence. Fritz, one word of advice for investors in 2025.
For me, always show up, be consistent.
Okay. Consistency. Love it. So persistent. That's different than consistent. And we have team. All right. Ermel, one word of advice for people in 2025.
Best advice is get yourself a tribe, find yourself some a circle of close friends and partners inside that tribe, and from that close circle of friends and partners inside that tribe, you can create meaningful and lasting business relationships that will take you to the next level.
Amazing. Love it. And Kareen, one word of advice for investors in 2025.
I definitely agree with everyone that said team, probably the most important. Second piece I would say is like take your time on the back end to have systems and to stabilize things and grow at a pace that's manageable.
Okay, stabilize, systemize. Okay, guys, there's your word of advice from our panelists tonight. We have create a team, be consistent, be persistent, have a circle or a tribe around you, and systemize what it is that you're doing. And for those that are watching, if you need help with that, that's what we're here for. That's what our IGNiTED membership is all about. And Jules will share in the chat a way where you can jump on a call with me and we'll tell you a little bit about it. And you can now join IGNiTED for as low as $997. $997 gets you into the door, and so anyways, we can talk more about that if you're interested. But that's all for tonight, guys. Awesome stuff. Great comments in the chat. Love the questions you guys asked and all of the support that you're giving our panelists tonight. Everyone really appreciated all the advice you guys gave. So thank you so much for coming on. Every single one of you is doing an awesome job, and every single one of you is hitting roadblocks, and every single one of you is having wins. And that's what this whole thing is all about. And having that tribe and that team around you to support you when it's tough, and to have fun with you and like congratulate you when it's going good. There's nothing better than that. So thanks for joining us tonight, everybody. Thanks for coming over to Zoom. We love that. And we will now switch over for our IGNiTED members into our laser session. You guys all know where to find that. So we'll cancel this and move over there. Have a great night, everybody.